Hey guys, I'm back. I tried to switch up the background a little bit, so that's like my couch. But yeah, I'm getting ready for church, and I'm really excited because I have not been to church in like umpteen years, you guys. It's been a long time since I've been to church, and just with me being on my own spiritual journey, and how much I am previously elevating, I thought maybe I should go to church. Easter's coming up. Maybe I should go to church. Me and my baby should go to church. I'm actually brought up in the church. I'm also I was also baptized as a baby. Like I grew up heavily in the church. So, and those of you that know me from like childhood, y'all probably know that. But I don't know. Somewhere along my journey, I fell off track or whatever, and I stopped going to church. But I never stopped believing in God. I want you to know that I never stopped trusting God. I always remember God. Even though I was not going to church. So there's that. So in today's video, I have a word for you all. For those of you that are not able to go to church today, maybe you were stuck at home with the baby, or maybe you broke your foot. I hope not, but I'm just saying, or maybe you're not really like a church goer, and you rather just like watch something online. Well, I'm going to give you my word today, of course, through the Spirit from the Lord. Actually, God woke me up 2 o'clock in the morning. I tell you no lie, 2 o'clock in the morning to read the Bible and to give me this word. So I'm going to share it with you all, So today's word, the objective of today's word is forge your own path. And where does this stem from? Well, I'll give you a little background about how I personally feel about forging your own path. In my life, I have always been someone who has forged her own path. Me growing up how I did and my background and things of that nature. One day we will get into all the details of it all. I've seen so many things around me, and I never wanted to be like that. I knew that there was something different about me. I knew that I wanted to be better. And I just knew that there was so much more out in the world. I am a millennial, so I grew up with social media and, with the YouTube vloggers and MySpacers and Facebookers and Instagrammers. And, I really grew up watching these people, and I knew that if I see these people do it, then what's wrong with me? So I'm going to keep fighting in my life, and I'm going to make something of myself because it's possible and I am worthy. And, there's nothing wrong with me, so with that being said, you can already tell that leads me to my next point, and I need lip gloss, whatever, but whatever, fuck that. We're gonna just get into the word. I see 333 on the timer. Thank you, angels, for your loving support. And that brings me to my next point, which would mean that I've always been a leader. Okay, I have been leading the pack my whole life. When I was a child, people used to follow me. When I was in school, a lot of people used to follow me. And becoming an adult, people followed me. So and still up to this day, bitches is inspired, right? I'm sorry to curse. Look, listen, I'm not your average like God's child. Like I'm not prissy and perfect and trying to be all cutesy, and I don't curse and I don't this. Listen, I twerk when I'm home alone. I don't smoke and I don't drink, but I curse a lot, and God knows that. He can strike me down right now if I'm lying, but I'm a sailor. Woo woo. So and He loves me just for me being me because I'm authentic, But anyways, so I've always just been a leader, and people, they don't tell me this, right? Only very few people have ever told me this in my life, like, yo, you inspire me, yo, and I want to do what you're doing just in my own way. And when I tell you very few, probably like only 2 people, I'm in my 30s, only like 2 people have ever told me like, oh, you inspire me, keep going, boop boop boop. But I'm so intuitive that you don't necessarily have to tell me shit, because I see it, right? I can see a lot of things, so just because people don't tell me does not mean that I don't know. So that just goes to show you that I am so inspirational, and God is using me at this point in my life to inspire you all, right? So what is the message of this video? The message is to learn to forge your own path, right? I know that we look up to these celebrities and we see these people in positions of power, and we're like, yo, I want to be that powerful. I want to be like Cardi B. I want to be the next Joel Osteen. I want to get as big as Jay-Z, DJ Khaled. And you can, right? You have to forge your own path. That's what you have to do, ladies and gentlemen. You have to stop. You can still love your people that you love and support them, but you have to solely be focused on your own divine spiritual journey, because your journey is leading you to your milk and honey. Your journey is leading you to your pot of gold at the end of your rainbow, right? So if you keep on trying to emulate these people that you are looking up to, when you need to be looking up to the Lord himself, you need to be looking up to Jesus. That's what you need to be looking up to, right? Again, you can support these people. There's nothing wrong with supporting people, and you're inspired by them because you want to reach those pinnacles, and that's what you want to do. But at the same time, it's just like, do you know how powerful you are? A lot of you maybe have forgotten along your journey how powerful you are. Maybe it was never instilled in you in the first place, but you are so powerful. The fact that God has even given you life and you have breath in your body today, he woke you up this morning, amen? You're powerful. You are one of God's children. And you just forgot along the way. But I'm here to awaken your soul, right? I'm here to awaken the mind and help you remember. He made you from your father's sperm and your mother's egg, formed you in your mother's womb, and made you exactly who you are today. The Lord already know who you were before you was even fully formed in your mother's womb. He knew the journey and the plans that he had over your life, God's plan. He already knew. He knew that you would go off track umpteen times and he had to put your ass back on the track, right? Imagine we watching one of those NASCAR racing competitions or whatever, and your car keeps going off track. And here comes God. This is you driving off track. Here comes God picking you up and putting you right back in your path. Every single time, picking you up and putting you back in your lane where you're supposed to be. Every single time. It doesn't matter how many times you get off track. He will redirect you. But you have to stop being disobedient. He knows the desires of your hearts. He knows that you want to be the next Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, the next fucking DJ Khaled, Cardi B, whoever the fuck. And you know, but you have to stay in your lane and keep driving, right? So you can become who you are meant to become in your life. He has great plans for your life. But you have to continue to forge your own path. You know, I got off my track a lot of times in my life, you know. And I'm not necessarily proud of that. You know, I have got off my path so many times, you know. Sometimes you just get distracted, you know. Sometimes you just forget who you are. You get lost in this world, you know. It's a lot of distractions in this world, you know. A lot of people are not going to like this, but sports, celebrities, your job, you know, like your friends, these are all distractions. I mean, I'm not saying you can't have fun and you can't go out and party sometimes and you can't watch sports, you can't support celebrities and, you know, you can't have friends. I'm not saying that, but you have to find a balance in your life. What are the things that you're doing every day in your life that is solely having you focus on your own divine life's journey? You can't just wake up, get ready for work, go to work 9 to 5. After that, you come home, you watch the football game. After that, okay, you go with your friends to the bar. You see what I'm saying? So everything that you are doing, it's not aligned with you forging your own path. You are out here giving your energy out to so many different areas that you can reel it in a little bit, is what I'm trying to say, right? We have to learn balance in our lives, you know, and that's how I was off my path a few times as well, you know, like wanting to hang out with friends and wanting to party and hang out and this and that, smoking. And it's just like, one day God just stopped me in my fucking tracks, yo. He just sat me down and he just said, Juicy 101. He said, yo, obviously he said my real name, but we'll get to that at some point. But he said, Juicy 101, what have you been doing lately? Because I know you're crying, you're crying and you're stressed and you're asking me, God, please help me. I want to live my dreams and I want to do this. I want to live my best life. And he said, Juicy 101, what are you doing every day that is, you know, for you to be forging your own path? What are you doing that's going to get you to the levels that you're trying to reach? And I had to sit there and think for a minute and I just broke down. I broke the fuck down because I realized that I had got off track again. I was not forging my own path at this time in my life. I was distracted. Work, friends, this, going out, smoking, you know? And that's when he had to put me back on track. Boom, put me back in my lane. And I've been back in my lane ever since. And I feel better than ever. I feel very happy. I feel peaceful. I feel grateful. I feel strong. I feel able and capable and ready, you know? And because God knows the desires of my heart. And you see, the Lord is such a, he's such a merciful God, right? That not only does he forgive you over and over again, and not only does he truly see you for who you are. See, your family does not, they rarely see you as who you are, you know. Friends, your friends do not know who you are because you put on a facade when you're with your friends. Your loved one, I mean, unless you're married, your loved one does not know who you really are. Work does not know who you are, right? These 9 to 5 jobs. God is the only one that knows who you truly are and what the desires of your heart really bleed for. And he wants to give them to you. God wants to bless you. But you have to continue to forge your own path. It's very important. The only way to get from A to motherfucking B, which is where you are today and where you want to be in the future, let's say 10, 15, 20 years from now, resting in your blessings, living out your dreams, everything turning out exactly the way you wanted it to turn out and better because it's God's plan. We think we know shit. We don't know shit. God is aligning shit the way it's supposed to be aligned because God is the overseer. The Lord can see everything more than we can see. Yeah, what can we see? Ask yourself right now, what can you see? I see my apartment, my cat, like my child, my kitchen, my fan, like I see out the window. Okay. God sees more than that. God sees your whole community, all the blocks surrounding it. God sees the entire world. You're in New York. Okay, God can see LA. You're in Texas. Okay, God can see Las Vegas. Okay, you're in America. God can see Africa. You understand what I'm fucking saying? You don't put restrictions on what God can do in your life. Start believing again. Get back on your path. Allow him to realign you on your path so you can continue to forge your own path. You are powerful. I know that you are inspired by these people who have forged their own paths and they have gotten to where they are today, but that can be you too. If only you stay focused on your own path. Stop being a follower. A follower is not cute. I see so many people in my life every day being followers. Specifically, there's this one girl that I know, and I don't know her, right? I see her, right? And she is always like, and this is no novellas, this is no gossip shit. No, I have to use real life examples for you all to follow me and understand. Because I don't gossip. I don't have time to gossip and talk shit. And no, I worry about me and what the fuck I need to worry about. So that's number one. But I just see this young girl. She's a young girl. I believe she's like in her early 20s. And I can literally see her. She has so much potential. You know, this girl, she drives, she works, she's beautiful. But she's always surrounded with like her family. And I feel as though like her family is possibly holding her back. You know, when you are afraid to detach, this brings me confirmation. This brings me to like my next point and then we'll wrap it up. When you are afraid to detach from the things in your life, these attachments are holding you back. I'm not saying that you can't love your family, you can't hang out with your family. I'm not saying that you can't love your friends and hang out with friends. I'm not saying that you can't, work a 9 to 5 and focus on your passion at the same time. I'm not saying that you can't party on the weekends sometimes. What I'm saying is you have to begin today, on the day that Jesus rose, okay? On Easter. This is Resurrection Day, okay? You have to begin to start forging your own path. So that means that once you wake up, do a little workout. Have you a cup of tea, go on a walk, and then, okay, if you gotta work, go to work. And then after that, come home, cook you a nice meal, right? Relax, take a bath, meditate, read a book, focus on your passions, right? Always forge out some time in your day to focus on your passions. Because just taking baby steps in your life will get you to where you're trying to be. If you take no time to focus on your passions in your life, you're not going to get nowhere. You're going to be in the same place 20 years from now wondering, damn, I wasted my motherfucking life. I'm still here in this neighborhood. I'm still here in this apartment. I'm still here in this fucking country when I'm supposed to be the fucking Paris. You see what I'm saying? But if you just take those little steps every day, record the content, write a chapter of that book, put that song out, finish that choreograph dance or whatever because you want to be the next Lauren Gibson. I don't fucking know. I don't know. Draw that next picture in your art book. Somebody may want to buy that shit for $1 million one day. You don't fucking know, yo. Take the time out of your day and focus on your passions. When you are focusing on your passions, you are forging your own path. I hope this message resonates with someone out there. I have to continue to get ready for church. I'm leaving soon. And I'm excited. I hope I receive the word and I have a good time. And yeah, I love you all. Thanks for watching. Bye.